Warning. This episode contains a lot of potty talk. I mean a lot. Some nasty stuff. A C-bomb gets dropped. There's a lot of drug use, and I don't just mean talk about drug use. I mean actual drug use that is done on the recording. There ain't a whole lot of talk about gaming, but there is one good anecdote that Brodor gives you about a recent stint as a guest dungeon master. There's a lot of talk about politics, about race. There's satire, and some bombs get thrown. And just so you are aware, as per the later conversation in the episode, military service in South Korea is compulsory for any man, whatever that might be, from the ages of 18 to 28 for 18 months. So there you go. Why don't you take it away, yeet?
Oh man, no! It's one of the 23 commandments of war. Don't mix dairy and baby.
I'm Brodor, and this is Why We Game. We're here in the Safe Space Studio, and we have two guests today. We have the original superfan, E.B. Hunter, certainly someday to be canonized as the patron saint of intoxicants, and something that you find difficult or elusive in America, justice. How are you two today?
We're good.
Spectacular. I mean, I am a little patron saint, for sure.
You are. I guess
you are my Loch Ness monster.
Stop. Don't.
350. I got 350
I
for you.
feel like that we should warn the audience that this is going to be an unusual episode because Justice and EB are not professional gamers in the sense that they make money at gaming. They are gamers in the sense that you and I and all of us on some level paying attention to the show are gamers. And we're going to talk about the line between fan and friend. And I am certain that considering the level of intoxicants that are at the table, that the conversation is going to go a little this way and a little bit that way. But I met EB through Fear the Boot when I started on that show. And then he started following me there and then followed me over to other projects like I've done. Like if you want to cancel me, it's very easy. Go look up a podcast called Who Wears the Pants? All your ammunition is there. And then EB also followed me over to this project. But the really important part is that EB met Justice, and so that I got to meet Justice. And unlike the sort of Rick Sanchez, Beth and Jerry Smith dynamic, these credits do indeed transfer. In fact, Justice's stock is a little higher.
This is true. This is very true. It's not even funny. It's not even there's no jokes. That is simple fact.
Your nose is sweating
Yes.
Why is your nose sweating?
because he's white.
Oh, you are white, but I'm
white as hell.
I am white too, but you're not just a white guy, right? Like you are the quintessential sort of like you are. If people around the world who are not Caucasian made a lineup of Caucasian stereotypes, you are on an extreme. Like you don't have a hacky sack, but. Do you really?
Of course, several.
He is the face of our Portland dating.
Oh my God. See, this is why I'm so envious of her, because she's genius. Before we started recording, Justice had this brilliant bit that I'm going to ask her to repeat about, I don't know, there's a big picture coming out. You said something about Pixar. What did you say?
Oh, yeah. Because
Okay.
you were trying to introduce
Afro Samurai is what I was trying to introduce to the conversation.
And as he took breath to explain what the show was, I jumped in and said, it's the reconciliation picture being released by Will Smith and Chris Rock. DreamWorks 2025.
Which is absolutely brilliant. Now,
And low-hanging fruit, I might add.
it is, and I have not discussed that because since Chris and I really don't do Who Wears the Pants anymore, I don't get my political wanker to talk about that stuff. But I will say this, that I pay enough attention to media of color that I know, particularly as a white male, it's not my place to comment, so I don't have anything to say. I'm glad you knew I was being facetious because at first there was a moment where you were like, is he fucking for real?
The moment was, what is EB going to say in this gap is actually where my mind was. But that's because we're at the tail end of a really long road trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see, all I was going to do is just pump my chest twice and point over to Protoss. That's all I got. That's all I got.
It's a weird situation, and honestly, that's not why people tune into this show. So I don't care. But we will talk about World War III because that affects all of us.
I will say that Chris Rock overall held it pretty well on the far side, and that was the best thing he could have done.
No,
just holy shit.
Yeah, he's like Will Smith. Yeah.
Just slapped the shit out of him.
Yeah, and my dad and I had that conversation kind of in the immediate aftermath. So just for the TMI of your listeners, I am a black woman, and my father is black and my mother's white. And my dad and I were like talking after the Oscars, and he's like, man, Will blew it, because all he really had to do was just like look up at Chris and be like, listen, you and me, after the show. And Chris would have been canceled for making fun of Jada, and you can't talk about alopecia and wigs and Dr. Phil, and so I don't know.
Was it a turning point? If we are directing World War III.
So, no, it wasn't a turning point. What it was is that the dynamic to me, and this is just my perspective, I certainly could be wrong, but when that video came out while I was at Washington, like it was late one night, we were drinking, talking, blah, blah, blah. It happens. It goes everywhere. It's across the world. And I watch it, and my immediate thought was, dude, he laughed at that joke. I mean, Will Smith laughed at that joke.
He absolutely laughed at that joke.
And then he had to compensate.
But because I have no way of proving this is, my suspicion, blah, blah, blah. Because he's a broken cuckold of a man, he felt that, this public emasculation was just a bridge too far, particularly when you see the look on his wife's face.
Yes. It's the swerve Halle Berry never took. There was a course correction. Everyone walked away, and he bitch slapped Chris Rock.
That's insight. Any which way. So what besides Chris Rock and Will Smith and Jada and that whole thing
and me explaining to EB what Red Table Talk was on the drive today.
What is Red Table Talk?
Okay, so this is Jada Pinkett Smith's Facebook Live series. That's her like vanity Oprah, The Real shot with her daughter and mother show. And recently it's come up because as the New York Post digs for dog whistly articles to post about them, they go back to like old Instagram and like snaps and tweets. And there's one when Jada was referencing an episode of Red Table Talk like 2 years ago.
When Esther Perel, who's a relationship advice, I believe she's a psychologist.
Right. This was in the aftermath of the disclosure that the Smiths were in an open marriage, and Jada famously had the instant hashtag entanglement. So he didn't realize that it's like, no, like Red Table Talk is like a thing. So.
Yeah. I thought it was just a red table.
Oh, I didn't know. I knew she had a show. I didn't know the name of the show.
Yes. So
and now we are that much closer to clarity.
A colloquialism may be, we're going to have to sit ourselves down at the red table. That people that watch that show know what that would mean. And I'm ashamed to say that I do as well.
Like where the rubber hits the road.
Why are you, and I'm serious when I ask this question, why would you be ashamed of admitting to something that you indulge in?
That's an excellent question, an
excellent segue.
The answer is probably something trauma response, something childhood, but I don't know.
Yeah, and for those of you that like EB are a Brodeur aficionado, just take my childhood and replace mom with dad, and you've got a little bit of insight with Justice and kind of the trauma that she had to deal with growing up. So yeah, that's another reason why we are simpatico. When you find somebody else who has been, as they say in the military, in the shit,
yes.
Which I was never in the military. I was never in the shit. I was just appropriating.
Nor were we ever in Major League Baseball, but we were both in the show.
Yeah. I want to take cultural appropriation to the opposite, and I want to do cultural inappropriation. And I want to do it to an extreme that it is so offensive that everyone finds it funny. Like Mel Brooks in Blazing Saddles.
Absolutely.
That's the direction.
That's the archetype to aim for.
So So you got Mel Brooks, you've got Robin Hood Men in Tights. I'm trying to think of what the next round would be. Sorry, I just got lost down that rabbit hole.
You did. I don't know what rabbit hole you were going down with Mel Brooks. No. Because you started with Men in Tights, and that is the area in which I took umbrage. I don't understand. That movie is a steaming pile of dog shit, sir. It is awful. It is unfunny. Carrie Elway is ashamed of having done that film, I suspect. And if he's not, he should be.
Because in any other career, Princess Bride would be the albatross around his neck in terms of his, like if he was like an early Shatner kind of like mindset, right? Well, like before he embraced the fans, right?
Yeah, but even for Mel Brooks, it wasn't a good movie, right?
That's not our reality because Robin Hood Men in Tights exists.
Yeah.
Right. So here's the thing. I got to start at the bottom. You know what I do for a living. I take care of shit.
Yeah, it's true. But you see, I look at entertainment like I look at cleaning. You start at the top and you work your way down.
I understand, but that I don't know that we would have ever found Evil Dead that way.
Yeah, that's actually an excellent point, which is a delightful movie. Anyway, what I wanted to honestly talk about, though, and it's going to be weird because, I mean, I don't know how forthright you're comfortable being, but how is it for you on the fan side of the relationship, right? So I call us friends, right? Absolutely do. But when you give me money on Patreon and you follow me on multiple podcasts, that is different than my other friendships. The people that knew me not through podcasting generally don't listen to my shows or follow my videos or anything like that. And our relationship is relatively unique because I don't know many people in person. I've met a few guys and hung out a few times, but there really isn't anybody else from fandom with whom I text and hang out and I see when they're in town and I want to hang out with their significant other. And it's just not a thing that normally happens for me. And so I'm not uncomfortable, except for at some point I would feel guilty about taking your money. Is it weird for you to be hanging out in the house of somebody who you listen to podcasts and bullshit with, and, you know, now we're hanging out like buddies? Is that weird?
I have a thumbtack to add after you say your piece.
So yes and no, and there's different degrees of weirdness. I think that especially early on in the podcast, and because that was still kind of early days social media, we didn't know how the lines were being drawn. But I saw you enough times. We broke bread. We, got to hang out and play games, and you still owe me a game pretty soon.
I do. With Fear the Con coming in June, just a few short months, I will be running my patented You Tell Me system, and it'll be Thundercats Catsploitation. Because Thundercats is the most racist of all cartoons. And so I'm going to prove that by running a panthrocentric adventure in the spirit of a blaxploitation film.
I'm 100% on board.
I will be there to witness it.
Yeah. Now, this is also the convention where I ran a game that was so terribly offensive that I got my first very serious piece of hate mail. That was the All Pups Go to Valhalla game.
That was a great game. Okay, so now you get a story. So
we're
my former partner or
friend,
sir, please, Katrina was there, and she played in that game.
She did. The game revolved around 9/11 and the Twin Towers. All right, so here's the thing. If you're going to fucking all right.
Let's go.
All right, we're about to get, so we're 14 minutes in by the recording. I don't know what that is.
So no fucking return.
3 minutes into the show. And yes, this is in, we are at the point of no return.
No return.
So shortly, So shortly after 9/11, like I don't know, it was shortly after 9/11. We're unpacking boxes of comic books from the Diamond shipment, and I look at one of my employees and I'm like, "Hey, would you do me a solid and pass me the airplane key?" And they looked at me like I had a second head. They're like, "What?" I'm like, the thing with the airplane key, the Stanley, the knife. Yeah. And I'm like, so when you absolutely positively have to take over the aircraft Stanley every time. And
No.
yeah. And so there's this game by this genius who is persona non grata in the gaming industry named Jim McClure. He's got a few different games, but he did a few brilliant games, but one really good game called Terrible. So in Terrible, you write down like half a dozen powers that you can do on a piece of paper, and to use your power, you have to tear a full, complete letter of that power off. But once you put your hands on the paper, you can't move them, right? And so they were all dogs that had died and gone to heaven in battles. They were in Valhalla. So, there was, what did you play? What was your dog called? I forget.
Oh, so I still have the character sheet.
Yeah, there were like Piddles and Sarge and what have you, right? And they had powers, like
Jesus Christ.
yeah, like acidic urine. It was a really gonzo over the top. So when the game starts, the North Tower had just been hit, and the second plane's about to hit the South Tower, and the Rainbow Bridge from Valhalla comes and basically stops time, and the pups get to go magically through the wall of the fuselage and into the plane and fight the bad guys, right? And they get the plane lands, and they realize
your damn Miracle on the Hudson.
they get the plane. The plane lands. They figure out that there's a terrible conspiracy, and that there's no actual plane and only a missile that actually hit the Pentagon. I've only watched that video like 15,000 times. But anyway, so they go to the Pentagon, and of course, it's the evil genius. Well, the cat has an evil genius in the basement of the Pentagon, and they have to go and fight the cat and defeat it. And it was a whole conspiracy, blah, 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 blah.
This is the first time I've been offended, by the way, in hearing about this game, was that the cat is the bad guy.
Because if I could quote Phil Lamar as God from that Enchantment TV show on the Netflix, there are no cats in heaven. Cats are the fucking devil's tool.
Oh dear.
That's the thing. That was the pussy that got everybody lit on fire in the late 1600s. It wasn't wise women. It
wasn't Joan of Arc, bitch.
No, it was fucking cats, right? They're fucking everywhere. There's crazy chicks got cats. We got to do something about them. Anyway.
You're welcome for ending the plague, by the way. Signed, all cats that ate mice and lice everywhere.
They have their uses. So it's like capitalism versus communism, right? You have to pick your servitude. What servitude do you want? Now, do you want a servitude where poverty is equally distributed and it's horrible and blah, blah, blah? Or do you want an opportunity that you can have money and it's horrible and blah, blah, blah? See, I want to come home and I want my owner to lick my face and pretend to be excited that I'm there, because we both know that he just uses me as a tool to accomplish his own things. But at least he pretends to give a fuck.
Hashtag shout out, Benny. Mommy loves you.
So anyway, there was someone who came to the game specifically because they had read the blurb and blah, 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 blah. And they wrote a long but very respectful and kind letter about how it was inappropriate and I should have done it and right. And, Dan's like, how do you want to handle it? And I was like, well, Dan, look, here's the only thing I'm not going to do. And that's apologize. I was like, other than that, whatever it is that I would say, you would say more eloquently. So that's kind of where we're at. And dude, the fan or the person who went to the show, I don't know if they're still a fan of the show, but the person who went to the convention, man, they were very cool about it. They were like, okay, I wanted you to understand that this was something that triggered me and made me upset. And we were like, understood.
And that's how fans should do it.
Yeah.
That's how the game should be played.
But it's not, right?
Well, correct.
And I don't understand why it's not. I mean, shit, I recently, and I bitched about this on a previous episode, but I recently, was told by Facebook that you can't advertise and you can't go live for a meme that you shared from 2.5 years ago. I
said a lot of that this weekend being around my 18-year-old cousins.
Yeah, scary. It was really, really scary. But then there is a game designer by the name of Eric Lang, who is by no means anywhere near a conservative, right? You know what, when people that think conservative is a bad word, right? Like some people I know use Democrat. He's not a conservative, and he got shut down for, a statement that was obvious satire. And I don't know. I'm skeeved out about it, because if you don't understand that social media is the public square, it is the place where people go to be heard, then I don't know. I don't know. That might be a non-starter in our relationship for me.
That very closely aligns with my worldview.
We've danced along the light of day for too long on just not really letting the internet run itself, but giving it to whoever's got the most money. And enough people with really, really loud voices, and that loud voice being money, said, hey, we got to start shutting stuff down, and then flows, it flows.
Yeah, because honestly, money really is the only thing that truly, truly does matter. And of course, there are a variety of factors that are important, but at the end of the day, I think money is probably the most important one. I don't know. I feel like that. We were talking about it earlier. There's just something weird in the air now, and it's, for me, I don't know. I feel sometimes guilty, hanging out and paying attention to toy soldiers and wanting to rant about why the knuckleheads at Paizo shit the bed so poorly that they have to do a book for 5e,
Oh God.
Yeah, I want to bitch about that stuff, but then I think I see what happens in the news, and just I don't know. Either I'm going crazy because I'm mentally ill and a depressed person, and all of these ugly things in the world are bearing down on me, or we're really, really at the brink where there's so much surface tension in the water, and we just keep adding drops, and it still doesn't overflow, right? But I'm just watching the rim of the glass, waiting for everything to just spill over. And I feel like I'm not alone in that.
No, absolutely not. And we were kind of talking a little bit before mics were on. It became tangible to me when that little girl tested positive for the performance enhancing drugs at the Olympics. That was hammer down for me.
The Russian girl?
Yes. That was my first, okay, so he absolutely is still KGB. That was the first thought that came into my mind about Putin. And I'm now officially on some hit lists.
Well, but you know what's nuts about that is that, oh, by the way, your country is not allowed to compete in the games, period, because you're cheaters. So you're going to make up a new organization that represents your country, that has your people from your country, that has your nationals.
Uses your money.
But technically isn't your country. And then they're going to cheat. And the world just doesn't give a shit, right? No one cares.
EB and I are in our 30s, and our parents felt so far removed from the Cold War that was the fictional boogeyman in the media when we were growing up. It was, so we were so far removed from it that it was like a World War II movie. And here we are.
See, for our Chi-Com overlords, it is never, ever, ever ended. It has never ended. And I know I come from a land of, crazy, I fucking bleed America, right? But I've never thought it was over. I've always believed it was a real thing. And this is certainly going to get me canceled and really divide lines. I honestly think that right now, the American slow roll response in Ukraine is just one of the many things that the Chinese have paid for.
And it is a villain origin story in the 100%. Making with Zelensky.
Yeah. It's absolutely nuts to me that, because I listen to both media, right? I listen to a lot of Fox News, and I listen to a lot of CNN. I listen to a lot of NPR, which people say, Mike, that's not bias. And I'm like, dude, you're more high than I am. But my point is that I really do try to consume both sides, and both sides of media in this country are telling me that Russians are committing these horrible, horrible atrocities. But at the same time, they're the shittiest, backwards, worst military in the world. Why, if that is the case, and let's just take nuclear armament off the table for a moment. If that is the case, why are we handling it so poorly?
War fatigue. America, that's my feeling right now. America has war fatigue.
To not pass articles of war after Russia was known to have interfered in our presidential election.
That is also
The day that passed, it's a rude awakening.
well, and the same at the same time when Crimea was occupied the first time around, but
Oh, in 2014?
yeah, but every little red line.
With that delightful Obama, Putin, Crimea River meme. I know I'm making light of horror. But
It's nostalgic, though.
It is.
It does make me want to game it. We were actually, I was talking with some friends recently. I don't want to out anybody, but we were talking about doing Wolverines, the role-playing game, like using Savage Worlds or Skies of Glass or whatever, finding a mechanic and doing that game. And somebody was like, so we thought about maybe producing it. And one of the people in the conversation was like, it might be a bit too hot button right now, too real for people. And I don't like gaming in something that is too real. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but there was a time where there were these fantasy flight games where you played yourself and with these different apocalypse. Is that the correct plural? I don't know. Anyway, it was the alien apocalypse or the robot apocalypse or the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
And you played yourself. And I know people that put me in their games as a crazy prepper, which is totally fair. But I don't know. I want to escape reality, but
Right.
I haven't felt lately like I've wanted to talk more about politics and the world and the hypocrisy and the lies than I've wanted to talk about gaming. And I don't know. I've had this urge to just get all this shit off my chest.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Well, I appreciate that.
I think the pandemic kind of rears its ugly head in that, too. There's just a feeling of wanting to, air our fucking grievances out.
Yeah.
That we've been denied for the last 2 years.
Yeah. Because so many people you're stuck and you can't vent. And then I go out and I don't know, I could go in so many different directions. But
the fear of cancellation is like choking what should be the clean oxygen of social media and the internet.
Now, see, as a woman of color saying that, I mean, that's all I think that you need to know about society is that it's gone that far. And, I've had most of the interactions that I've had with fans have been about, I like this game. I like that game. I don't like that game. But I've had people reach out to me to talk about guests and say, hey, this person X, that person Y. And that's really hard to handle from my perspective because I don't know, it was just like anything. I can hear stories and I can hear allegations and if I need to deal with something like a guest that I've had on the show because they have a bad background, that scares me, but by the same token, I have a hard time with allegation and accusation being the thing that destroys people.
Yes.
And I just...
That's a fresh topic of conversation
Oh, yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just not to veer too much off the road, but talking about the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial being televised. The defamation case is going to be televised for, the highest bidder. And so we were talking about the culture of believing the victim, and I'm not going to take you down a Me Too rabbit hole, but we were kind of talking about that last night.
Yeah, no, that's another wild thing altogether. I was arguing, I remember when the Kavanaugh thing was happening, and I was over at a buddy's house, and he was talking about Brett Kavanaugh and how he needs to go, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm not saying Republican or Democrat. You want to talk about asinine, look at the last several judicial nomination or, basically confirmation hearings for SCOTUS. But anyway.
We can tell from your grandpa cheeks you like beer, Brett. We don't have to keep repeating it in the chamber, okay?
Right. But here's the thing. My buddy's like, there are multiple allegations and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, dude, I get it, but you raped me. And he's like, what? I'm like, you raped me. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you raped me. And I'm calling your boss. And he was like, the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, dude, you raped me. I'm telling everybody.
heart rate is up.
Yeah, and he's
Da, 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 da.
yeah.
And it's just the accusations are. Big.
I'm that way with the scarlet R, the R of racism. That's the one that terrifies me more than anything. If somebody's like, Brodor touched me, or like, Brodor's a disgusting, creepy pig. Women are never alone with Brodor. We know that was not the case. Like, we know that didn't happen. But if they were like, Brodor said some shit that was X, I would be like, I didn't, but I could see where you would think that I said some shit.
The fact that is a thought in your brain, to me, is like your cred for life. Like, no bullshitting.
So can I tell you guys a story?
Yes.
This is how crazy I am. And we all know, and sorry, Dad, I know you're very ashamed and embarrassed, but I smoke a lot of weed. And my wife and I are walking the dog. Young man's walking down the street, other side of the street, coming down, blah, blah, blah. We're on this side of the street. My wife and I, because the Admiral is a fucking prick, and we're terrible dog owners, and he's undisciplined, we cross the street so our dog isn't an asshole to this guy. Yeah. And I think to myself, does he think that we cross the street because he's black? Because I did cross the street because my dog's an asshole. However, should I go back across the street and explain to this guy, excuse me, sir, I'm a very guilty white person, and I need you to understand the reason we cross the street is not because you are a young, tall, muscular, attractive black man, but because my dog's a fucking cunt.
Just if they do the Gritty Outer Limits reboot in Canada, that is like the pilot episode.
Right, Nick? Like, now I'm...
Yes, because you would be, hi there, sorry, I just needed to let you know.
Excuse me, I couldn't help but notice you're black, sir.
So my grandfather came from Canada to this country, and he spoke French as a child. And
this is where America loses Canada as an ally in the World War III movie.
On this recreated syndicated podcast.
Love Canada, and I am a Canadian. I'm a very nice person until it comes time for real violence.
We like Timbits. We are with you.
But I did. I just wondered. I was like, fuck. I looked at my wife and I explained the situation. I was like, that's the crazy world we live in. Like, I can no longer make a correct decision.
Can I ask what your wife's response to that was in the moment?
She thought I was being crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. My wife she just thought, she's like, we crossed the street, and that's what happened.
As likely would I, with a certain dash of non-apologetic, we're good, keep walking.
Hi, guilty buddy, how are you?
But society has conditioned me to think in this fashion.
So
I think this answers the question of why you are not uncomfortable with the inequity of the fan-friend relationship, because you guys just have a lot of like shared experience. I feel you guys are very much kindred souls.
Yeah, well, except for you're
the light in the dark.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's real life right there.
You're his dark side of the moon, like for sure.
Yeah. I'm your id. That's real life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, just hour wise, I've not gotten all the way through the Who Wears the Pants, because when it ended, it hurt.
Well,
because I saw the thing go up, because I was a couple episodes behind, and I saw it, and I was like, no.
Yeah, just with our schedules and stuff, it just didn't work out. And we want to get together and record a final episode. We have editing power. That's the amazing thing about this.
We're not live.
Yeah.
We're not live in the West Coast for 3 hours.
Yeah, no, we can't. We can't go live because Facebook won't let me go live.
Now we can you up on Instagram
because stockholders.
Because no. Here's what happened. I swear this is true. My YouTube channel sucks. I get it. My videos aren't great. My lighting's bad. Blah blah blah. My content is fun. So the point is that one of my videos actually took off. Right?
Mm-hmm, right.
It was getting a lot more viewership than any of my other videos, and I realized it was because I had reviewed a game that really not a lot of other people had reviewed.
Right.
When that game started hitting a certain level. I'm pretty confident that it caused the algorithm to just check me out.
Yeah.
And the algorithm went through my Facebook. They found a meme of Hillary Clinton looking terribly enraged, and it just said, "This shit right here is why I have people suicided."
So here's the thing. That should count.
For her, and I'm laughing.
2.5 years later. I get a preemptive demonetization for obvious satire.
You know that Google has Doctor Strange on retainer. You know that they froze time to give you the full rundown, the full Tinder scroll.
Seriously,
now that
this shit right here is why I have people suicided. That's fucking funny. I mean, that's funny.
Especially because, okay, so welcome back to Hot Takes. I voted. Hold on.
I'm Brodor. Welcome back to Hot Takes with EB.
The sweetest, kindest man that his hot takes are like 75 degrees, but continue.
I was a terrible feminist because I said Hillary Clinton couldn't fucking beat Donald Trump.
That didn't make you a bad feminist.
Yes, it did.
No, it didn't.
Oh, yeah.
What it did was make you right. Like I predicted, Brostadamus predicted the Trump. I don't know if you ever listened to my beer, or you did listen to the beer show. Yeah,
I was there.
Only if you like your feminism non-intersectional.
Well, I don't know what that means. I know, I'm serious. I literally don't know what non-intersexual feminism means. And I'm a person who very proudly, because I don't know words, I keep dictionaries and the thesaurus, and that combination of words I am ignorant on.
So the wonk nobody asked for that wouldn't leave.
People are like, God damn it, Brodor, you're not talking about gaming. You're not interviewing fucking people. And I'm like, but I'll tell you what, I am pouring passion into this episode.
I'm so sorry, regular listener.
We're working our way through gaming things.
No, there's there's a famous history that feminism in this country started, took hold, came to fame, took over as a movement of white feminism to the exclusion of the Black experience and the indigenous experience and the person of, in this country. And so there's been a conscious movement in the midst of second wave feminism. So, for second, third, in terms of suffrage versus equal pay versus what we have now. So the long and short of it is that a lot of the people that are going to probably have a problem with this, that would have voted for Hillary, who would have canceled you, are the white feminists that are not interested in hearing things that interfere with their manufactured reality.
I just thought I don't know. I just thought that she couldn't win because people weren't paying attention to the vibe, right? They just weren't.
She brought a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah. Well, and you just drive down, I would drive down the road. I wouldn't see many Clinton bumper stickers. I wouldn't see many Clinton yard signs.
Like it is now.
Yeah.
There was a feeling in the air that started to snowball.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I didn't vote for her, but I didn't vote for Trump either, right? I'm not telling people that, look how great I am because I don't fall for the stupid bullshit. But if you don't recognize that one of them is a magician and the other one is the beautiful stage assistant, you're not paying attention.
Right. Absolutely.
Anyway, I had a wonderful encounter today. Walking the Admiral, we're going down the street, and a group of humans approaches me. Because as I was telling Justice before the show, I no longer assume anything. And I have a friend who actually is very irritated when you refer to him as human because he is greater than the rest of us. But 3 primate descended bipeds are walking toward me.
And a priest and a rabbi.
And they have propaganda in their hand, and I step up and I just look at them and I'm like, religion or politics? and the man looks at me and he just says, yes. Yeah. My butthole puckered and we ran. They just
He said, I'm aware that you've entered the matrix.
Yeah.
What is your next move?
Yeah, that was the right chess move because that agent was just looking through those eyes. Going,
you want to
don't poke the bear today, Neo. Don't do it. You want to live longer? Don't poke this bear.
They want to scare Brodor, or you just fucking send CIA agents while he's stoned out of his gourd walking his dog through the neighborhood.
I apologize for not knowing, but who's the Bond sidekick, the American Bond sidekick that shows up and gets him out of jams and is like, I brought condoms, dude.
I don't know.
Yeah, so the first one was the guy who also played that same guy
think
on Burn Notice.
And I think Lawrence Fishburne played him maybe for the like Pierce Brosnan Bond movies, but
because that's the guy I'm thinking of. Yeah.
yeah, I forget why this was relevant when I started
It's like
talking
Agent
about
Star.
it. Because just like identifying, yes, I am aware that you're here. I am not blowing your cover. You will not blow my cover. We're nut to nut.
Yeah. We're nut to nut.
Yeah. Keep
Or
that
nut to
deep
butt.
state sleeper inside.
It creeped me out. No, I
Sun's
actually.
going down, big fella.
Yeah. I was like, dude, don't. I was like, get out of my brain, man. Come on. And then I realized it was like when I went to the weed store the other day. I looked down at my fucking feet and I'm wearing my paint covered Crocs.
Oh, yeah.
I looked at the weed sommelier. What do they call them? Bud buddies?
Bud tender.
Bud tenders. Thank you. Yes.
Bitch.
I looked at the bud tender and I was like, dude, maybe I don't need to be here.
I have a fear that I want to know if you identify with. I never want to be the person in the parking lot of the dispensary that makes people go, aw.
No, I don't think anybody. So, because here's the thing, I've never felt that, both seeing somebody in the parking lot of the dispensary, but also it has never been my experience working with people, just walking by in the parking lot with people, who are going in and out of the weed store. My experience has been, and granted, it's just a few dispensaries here locally and a couple out west, but the people, they're just happy that they're buying weed. And they
It's still novel enough.
Yeah, but I also find that weed smokers generally are not judgmental about smoking weed or eating weed.
That's extremely valid. As a really good theater buddy of mine said to me a couple weeks ago when we saw each other at a show that I was unprepared to be that high for, he was like, no, it's okay. It's okay. Anybody that knows because they're in like a secret cool club with you that only you guys know about.
Right. That's how it is.
That made me feel very much at ease. He's a very calming individual.
Yeah, but it's absolutely true. At this point, the people who care. The people that don't just don't. Right. And I literally, and I know Evie's heard the story, but when I was in Columbus, I'm walking down the street with a joint, and this young black girl is with another black girl, and she said, "That old white man is smoking a joint." And I took a hit and I passed it to her and I was like, that's because nobody gives a fuck. And she ripped my joint, passed it back to me, and that was that. And the guys that I were with, I won't out them because some of them are, known quantities in the gaming industry, just looked at me and I was like, fuck, Broder has no fucks to give at this point in his life. I am on a midlife crisis downward spiral trying to find bottom, right?
Don't understand that is his superpower. He's always angry.
Just ride the lightning.
No, it's absolutely true. So why, what are you playing these days? What do you do? What do you like?
Oh gosh, I have been so negligent overall. Pathfinder and 5e were my main. I mean, the last bits of things. Yeah. I try to keep my hand in on Dresden. I mean, I was a huge fan of the IP, the books in general.
Oh, right.
Huge fan. Looking forward to more Dresden in my life. But most of what I have been able to get a hold of has been, little bits and bobs at Fear the Con Online or what have you. And I've been a lot of gaming vicariously through streamers.
Has the pandemic been difficult to get games together for you?
My main group had some, I would say, fairly
traumatic real world events that pulled them away from being able to.
Well, that and definitely for a few of them. And then the big one was that we just couldn't get together because a couple of them were immune compromised. It was just, okay, well, we'll pick up when we can. And so that main game kind of collapsed. I think they're back to playing it now, but I had picked up work on the days when it usually is. So I fell behind the group.
That's tough. Now, do you think that as you're getting older, it is becoming more difficult to find games, or?
To find the time to do long form games like I would prefer, absolutely. being able to find spectacular, tiny little, explosively amazing games, it's easier. It's been easier as I've gotten older, mostly because I have gotten more involved with the booters. So that's most of what, but we have a gaming virgin.
Well, no, A. And B, I'd just like to speak frankly, we both have a certain amount of, we're in a season, I think, in our lives right now where we are not feeling that our creative and industrious sides are being served at all, and we're being a little bit ground up by industry. So it's kind of like hard to put yourself in a mental place to where it's okay to do something as frivolous as take time to pursue gaming.
Frivolous, quote unquote.
Right.
The only thing that I would challenge about that is that I'm certain that there are other areas of frivolity in which you still engage.
Absolutely, but
That's a what?
we have to pick and choose when we would rather be able to do everything.
The prioritizing, that's really the issue. And I
Right.
would say for me as a person, just as a primate descended biped, I definitely prioritize gaming to be a thing that I want to do, and I always have.
Yeah.
Whether
Absolutely valid.
yeah, where that's come to work, and this is not certainly
that's you.
Yeah, it's not the first time I've said this, but certainly, I mean, gaming is a big part of my identity. So much so that almost every single meaningful relationship that I have, not all of them, but the vast majority, stem from or revolve around gaming. And even if we are not gaming together, I met them because of gaming in those circles around gaming, and that's just, that's the world I live in. And I don't think it's that world that is dissatisfying. I think it is the real world that is crushing to me, and that gaming, it just no longer is enough of a distraction. And I think part of that is midlife crisis, but that's neither here nor there.
Hold on. Let me straddle the line between
Hi.
fan and friend right here on these hot mics. I've watched a couple different things change pretty significantly in terms of you used to live and breathe a store, one, and your network was tight. It hummed. It was kicking along.
Right.
Because gaming was every day. It was who you hung out with every day, and also the cool people that you wanted to hang out with after you were done with the bullshit.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Wanted to do cool shit like game with you. And then
I used to be somebody.
you are.
And now, well,
more
no,
than
I completely relate to that state of mind.
Yeah, but no,
you
I used
are
to.
more than you were.
Yeah,
and then the scariest thing is people know your name now.
No, more people knew my name then than do now. But that's not.
Oh no, there's people that are holding a card. There's people. I mean, there's people that listen to the show all over the place that are holding a card. There's some Kickstarter money that got thrown around, and there's probably going to be some voice talent that's going to have to expand. Well, maybe my broder's get a name drop somewhere.
I don't. None of that's true. And I don't know. It's funny. I'll talk about me, but when other people do it, it makes me uncomfortable. Is that weird?
And well, it's pretty Midwestern / traumatic childhoodish, but yes.
So let's talk about the hacky sacks, because here's the thing. Let me describe EB for you. Let me get back to why he is a quintessential Caucasian template.
Please do.
So first of all, I mean, he looks like that he is Scottish to a degree. And then you'd be like, huh? And they're like, or is he Irish? I don't know. I can't tell them apart. But then he's got the red beard and the wavy red hair and the flannel shirt. But the overall utilikill, like that is the thing that you don't know where that guy's coming from, right?
Little absinthe sock to keep it interesting on the
He is
bottom.
a 1940s Atlantic accent. Absolutely. Mid-Atlantic accent. Like he's the visual personification of Katharine Hepburn's accent. I am alone on this ledge, I feel.
I know where you are, but you're describing me, so I can't offer you olive branches or any sort of branches to pull you in. Sorry.
I retract my statement with regret.
All right, so Evie, I do want to ask you though, what was your first game? Like, what was the thing that blew the doors off, and you're like, this is a hobby that I want to be involved in?
Fear the Con. On one of the early Fear the Cons. I'd have to go back and see
Interesting.
which one it specifically was. I mean, so my very first game ever was D&D 3, 3rd edition. But
So you never had to fuck with THACO?
I did.
You did fuck with THACO?
I had GMs that would not allow me to play modern systems, and they were like, these are the books I have. If you want to play with us, you can play with us.
I respect that sort of tyranny.
And that's, I wanted to game.
Or I guess the word of the day, autocracy. I respect that level of autocracy in your gaming, because I have been that guy. So, but is 3.0, is that the thing that when you started gaming, was that the one that you were like, fuck, this is magic? Or have you had a game?
It was the only thing that I knew existed at the time.
Gotcha. So, because to me, it's missionary, right?
Right.
And it's plain, it's vanilla, and yes, it gets the job done. I just don't know many people who do it anymore.
Well, and it was really, I don't remember if it was the first Fear the Con or Fear the Con 3, because I don't think I got out to the first, but it was over at the old conference center. And I showed up out of nowhere. I didn't know anybody, and I think they put me in, I got a Chris Battletech game. I may have gotten a Traveler game, and then I got a game from Dan. And hook, line, sinker, gone. Gone was I.
Was it Transformers? Did you play his Transformers game?
I have not played his Transformers game.
I got to play it at Washington. Dude, it's fun,
Yeah.
right? So he took the old Transformers toys that had the cardboard backing and everything, right? And they used
the robots in disguise.
Yeah, robots in disguise.
That means the
And that the transform noise, right?
The chicken nugget Happy Meal one, that was the one we could afford.
Well, the toys, now that I'm sad, the toys,
I'm fishing.
they had these index card things, right? Do you still have them?
I think I have some.
Wow. So and then you had this red piece of plastic, this transparent piece of plastic you would hold over the card, and you could read the secret codes and see there. So our friend who's I guess original, I don't know how to describe Dan.
I would call
the original host.
Shaker.
Yeah.
Let's call him the original captain.
Yeah, the OG of
he's
Fear the Boot.
OG Starship
Yeah,
captain.
of Fear the Boot.
The Teddy Riley of Fear the Boot.
Yeah, he wrote a role-playing game set of mechanics based on those specific stats and a D10. And you're playing this, simple but elegant role-playing game, but then it's resource management because everything that you do takes energon, right?
Yes.
And I do like I always do, spend like a drunken sailor, and I was just burning energon like crazy. But anyway, it was a lot of fun, and I can certainly see where meeting that group of people would certainly get you energized and really, really interested in the hobby, because it's like a large family reunion of people that don't fucking hate each other.
Yeah. It's the tribe you chose, the family we are choosing. It's your gaming group. You spend about as much time with a good gaming group as you do with your family,
right? Yeah.
If you're lucky.
I had the opportunity to game with a friend last night and game with his group, and it was interesting because I don't want to sound, well, whatever. I guess there is an evolution to how people game, and they are gaming in a style and a fashion that I did when I was younger. Not to say that their gaming is immature. It's just that what they want out of the game is different. And me, my sort of autocratic alter ego certainly would imprison people for wrong fun. But the me that tries to live with the other primate descended bipeds. I try not to be that guy and try not to shit on how other people have fun. But there was something that made me really uncomfortable. And like I said, this is not a flex in any way. It was weird because my friend asked me to come and guest DM for a moment. Like he wanted to put some fear into the players because they had gotten more powerful and, to my buddy's credit, chagrin, maybe. Yeah, chagrin's probably the better word. He was a little bit loose with the treasure and the yada yada. Yep. And so they're pretty fucking broken, right? And so I came in and, it got me thinking about 5e and reasons why as a DM I don't care for 5e and why as a player I think it's great, but as a DM I don't like it, blah, blah, blah. But I am describing the scene so that we haven't even rolled initiative yet.
Hold on.
Yeah.
She's a fantasy nerd. And most recently, we got
a little bit.
What'd you make me read most recently?
Some Mercedes Lackey books from the 80s and early 90s.
The exact setting, basically. If you, all the words are the same. Roll it out. Just lay it out like you are describing that whole thing. Just the beginning of the scene. Like on, there was a Fear the Boot episode. I think I heard you describe it perfectly. So but she'll know.
All right. So the player characters, they're in a tavern because this is what they do, right? They're in a tavern, and one of the PCs is nursing a hangover with Hair the dog, which is what they do every day of every game session, right? Which again, I'm not deriding. I'm just trying to set the stage that they're doing what it is that they always do, and it is we're going to go from point A to point B, and we're going to kick in the door, we're going to kill the guy, and we're going to do the thing, right? And so they hear screaming in the streets and they're like, well, that's weird. And then they hear more screaming. And then they see people running past the bar. And then they step up, they go outside, and there's dirt and dust and what have you that's been being kicked up because, and they look up, there's a green dragon. There's this enormous emerald serpent that is in the air. It must be, its body itself just from, torso to pelvis is, 15 fucking feet. It's got a 60-odd foot enormous wingspan, and it's spewing chlorine gas on the innocent citizens of this elven, tree town village thing. And they're like, what the actual fuck is going on? At which point, when they see the second serpent, this one is sleeker, longer, more gangly in black, shoot acid down an alleyway, and people are melting. Eyes are rolling out of their head like what was his name? Rincewind in the Dragonlance books when he got hit by the Black Dragon. Anyway, it's just pandemonium in the streets. Because with gaming, people are so badass and you feel like you can't challenge them. There's a lot around them that you can do to make them feel helpless and make them want to do heroic stuffs, right? So they, of course, are like, holy shit, these are the first evil dragons we've encountered. They appear to be working together, and they're atrocifying this town.
And that is a layer that makes me wonder, because
my description,
haven't seen it before.
Yeah, and my description here was not like me being me, right? I'm just trying to get to the point of. So I was, and it speaks with a sibilant S.
Yeah.
And, and you ask it what it's searching for, and it says vendetta. To do the whole whatever stuff. And they were captivated, right? And I felt bad because my friend's kid is sitting right next to me. We get done doing this whole scene. They don't fight the dragons. They end up agreeing to kill their silver dragon ally and bring the head to these two dragons in the sacred place in the bog, blah, 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 blah.
Crazy.
Now, of course, they're not going to kill the silver dragon. They're fucking liars. But the point is that they were like, we don't want this fight. Based on the description of the encounter, the players at the table didn't want to fight because they were afraid they were going to die. Now, later they did fight and they killed one of the dragons super, super easily because 5e dragons are fucking lame.
Pushover.
But that's neither here nor there. And it was perfectly reasonable for their challenge rating level. Anyway, my buddy's kid looks at me and he's like, "You're way better than my dad." He's like, "You're a way better DM than my dad is." And I was like, dude, first of all, that's not true. Second of all, that's like saying somebody, who has been painting for 2 years is not very good because this guy's been painting for 40 years. It's not fair, right? You can't do that. And second of all, your dad's running the game that you guys want to play. So that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. Yeah. But
that's why he has a con.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was uncomfortable because.
Well, but in a professional setting, that would be happening all the time. I mean, that level of, I don't want to say bringing it to a game. If there were more professional DMs out there and you could go to Dungeons and Dragons and dinner, that would be happening a bunch. So I'm just trying to figure out how other than the stuff you've already listed, because best up, but how you would approach that in a fun and engaging manner. And I'm just breaking my brain a little bit.
Yeah,
here,
I don't know. Like, if it was a competition, right? Like, and people were like, "We're judging game masters," right? I've not done that, but I did do competition debate, and business is competition. Right. So that part doesn't bother me. But like when you're sharing creativity with your friends, something that I never want to approach and say out loud is so-and-so is better than so-and-so. Not because it's not true, just because I don't want to put it out there.
Right. And that's not the intent of the time.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. It's true, but it did make me uncomfortable because at one point in the game, when the dragons show back up for the encounter, one of the guys was like, "Okay, well, no, Mike's got to do it. Mike's got to do it. Come on." And I was like, and it's like, then the guys are like, no, please take over. And I was like, come on, guys, I don't know. I felt like that they were putting too much spotlight on me and it was my friend's game. And then at the end, they're like, "You're going to be back next week, right?" And I'm like, I am not.
So we did have a conversation about slightly similar topic about you getting dragged into music designership.
Music designership. Is that like composition?
It was the music director.
And this is something that Justice was getting at church.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were having a Jesus talk because we were in the plains.
Oh, okay. Okay. So this is not something that you guys would normally do back home. This was more a symptom of conversation with visiting family.
Yes, and being on the road in a different part of the country than the one we live in.
Gotcha.
A staggering amount of very, very religious
A little
stars.
more Bible Belt and Rust Belt than... I'm so sorry.
Uh-oh.
We're traveling. My friend who's cat sitting is FaceTiming me to show me my baby
What?
Benny.
No, I want to see the baby. I just remember it's not going to heaven because there are no cats in heaven.
Okay, Jeremy, POV, your friend is recording a podcast episode with her boyfriend and his friend, and we want to see the cat, but don't show the state of my apartment or divulge anything to incriminate me, but I'm already high.
Let you know that your high looks high.
She does. No, we're sitting here recording, and yeah, she's got the very lazy eyes. Yeah, she's got the hey man.
Well,
how's it going?
we did secondhand. We did smoke her out a little bit, but she's enjoying herself.
Okay, is contact high a real thing?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't smoke a lot of weed until the last few years, and now I'm like an everyday...
Seconded.
Yeah, I'm a regular everyday smoker now.
Seconded.
And will game, I go into the neighboring room and I smoke, but sometimes I'll stand with a joint or whatever right by the door, and my buddy who sits on the end of this table swears that he's like, "Dude, I was high." I swear.
If you're somebody who can taste the difference between Coke and Pepsi, if you're somebody who can smell when something is off in the kitchen at a restaurant you walk into, if you're someone who can eat fish and know whether or not it's fishy or not, you're someone who can receive a contact high or die by secondhand smoke lung cancer.
I didn't know that. That's absolutely wild.
I mean, that's my theory. I wouldn't say that it's
Well, and,
Hard fact.
and the thing is, it's not every game. And that's not to say that I don't smoke every game, but this particular game session, I just happened to be doing a lot of game mastering right from the doorway, and Smoke coming in, and he's like, dude, I drove home. I was high.
So it also depends if he's not a smoker at all.
He's not.
Then
yes. That's the main line, black tar in the vein.
Wow.
if you're a virgin.
There's a little kitty that's biting people. She's such a little bitey kitten. God, I'm so sorry to you.
How old is she?
She's going to turn 2 in like 4 weeks.
Now,
5 weeks.
What is her name?
Her name is Benny.
Benny. And does Benny have normal cat characteristics?
Yeah, she sure does. She likes to sit on me when it's time. Like, she only cuddles with me when it's going to make me late for work in the morning, for example. When I get home, she doesn't want anything to do with me. If I need to be out the door in 10 minutes, she wants the love. She's destroyed every water system I've purchased for her. So she gets all of her water out of my bathroom sink, which I let free flow for her 24 hours a day.
Wow, you're going to get prosecuted when the water wars begin, right? Because water, that's the next resource that we really start to kill for.
They're going to send me directly to Johannesburg.
I have actually been to Johannesburg.
Have you really?
So my older brother.
His passport is better stamped than mine.
Yeah, my older brother worked for a company called Black & Veatch, and he was part of a project management team building an enormous coal power plant down there. Yeah. And he was making bank and flew us out there. It was really, really wild. Yeah, it was neat. Going to South Africa was a really wonderful experience, especially when we were fumigated in Senegal. So we had So our flight there, was our flight? Oh, I don't remember. I think it was our flight home. No, it was our flight there. We land in Senegal, right? We have a stopover in Senegal. Dude, and it was an enormous plane. It's got 2 lanes, 2 aisles, right? So it's got the 4 in the middle, 3 on the outsides, whatever. Oh, yeah. Big fucking jet, right? And flight attendants walk down both sides with a can of something in each hand, and they literally fumigate. They do that with every flight because of malaria.
Wow.
Yeah. Everybody got fumigated.
Damn.
I was like, holy shit. It was like being a little kid running behind the mosquito truck, just sucking down that cloud of death.
Or for the millennial alternate outfit, just like sniffing Sharpies in like your English class as a 3rd grader.
Getting high on that Magnum Sharpie, the big thick ones.
The big ones.
Jeremy's still on the line from the Midwest, shaking his head in disgust.
Whiteout kind of guy, so.
You were a whiteout kind of guy.
I'm going to run upstairs and get another beverage.
I'm going to pee.
Oh, cool. Great. Well, you do that. I mean, literally.
Not on phone.
No. There are multiple bathrooms. There's one downstairs just to your right. If you want some privacy, there is one upstairs as well.
Show you her butthole. Okay.
Cat, why do cats show their butthole so much?
It's safe.
EB has a friend who is a very talented musician in the community who has a song regarding this.
Mikey Mason. And he did show you my butthole, but it's the theory that I remember, and Jackson Galaxy, our cat educator, could probably tell us, but I thought it was because they felt safe around you, but
Baby Benny's feeling safe on Jeremy's work boots.
Huh. I didn't realize. So I guess...
no, could be crazy.
Wow.
Could be very crazy.
So then when I get up right here to go get another can of water, should I show you guys my butthole? Like, is that okay? Because I'm feeling very safe.
I am not a proctologist.
I wasn't prepared to see a butthole.
All right, well, you do your thing. I will be right back.
Jeremy's a very good friend of mine, we'll tell the listeners, and is an American version of the guy from Letterkenny that always is in the overalls.
Nice. Really? That's who
Oh.
I am?
Oh, wow.
Not physically, but I have to... Did I tell you what Isaac said to me yesterday when we went to this retro game store? Did I send you the pictures of the retro game store and the Nintendo DS browser? Hi, baby Benny. What a good baby girl. Okay, anyway, so we were at the mall, but right before EB and I got back on the road, like to leave Dallas and go up north. And we got like almost to Missouri last night. We like really turned and burned it. But anyway, for me, we gunned it. For you, we took a pleasure cruise. But, oh God, pick up that thread. What were we talking about? What were we talking about?
You were talking about you were hauling ass. You were doing your thing, and we made it to Missouri.
I was talking about that.
Pocahontas?
No, it's gone, guys. Y'all, it's gone. But the point is, everyone's friends. Oh, yeah. Okay, so the retro game store. So
this was
before we got on the road, we were in town visiting my family. We had lunch and then went to the mall and then parted. And there was this. It's kind of like a mid-level dead mall. Like they're actively trying to infuse cash into it, but there's a urban exploration side of me that is attracted to dead malls and like retail culture. So anyway, they
were missing their Sears for sure.
We were it's the kind of mall that like the convenience store / head shop moves into because Old Navy's not going to pay rent in that space anymore because their insurance won't write it off. So there was like a retro gaming store that was like probably used to be a GameStop or a Babbage's. It was Texas, so probably Babbage's.
Somewhere, something like that.
But it had been bought by like a local proprietor, and there was just like absolute random garbage, but there's one person that would probably pay thousands for it stuff. And my sassy, about to graduate from high school cousin, they were 80s music was playing. I think Journey was playing, and he leans over to me and goes, "This is probably the music that was playing the last time something sold in this store."
Kid is savage. Savage.
He roasted my face off this week. Yeah. And his siblings just threw some napalm on, baby Nerf gun napalmed it.
Pew, pew. They were, yeah.
I got my skint melted off.
No, it's difficult, and I think that's why there are so many people that do podcasts. Is that as you age, your desire to your need to remain relevant is so strong.
We're Klein. Don't forget about us.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. And because I'm an absolute cliche, right? I'm a middle-aged white guy with a podcast. I am so ubiquitous and unoriginal. It's embarrassing.
But you're OG, unfortunately.
And he's got that twinkle in his eye that his father always had.
Yeah, my dad did have no, he was drunk.
But you have a cherubic face.
Aw.
He's a little imp.
Aw. Well, I hope I have some sort of bone definition. I don't want to have a too chubby a face.
It's a little elven. It's like you're cross-pollinated with.
All right, I'll take a cherub half elf.
You're a random fantasy mutt.
I like random fantasy mutt. I am all about that life.
And I kind of want to play that game. There's a lot of games I want to play. A lot of games I want to play. I want to play. To grab another one of our friends, I want to grab our Imagining Games.
Oh, Pete?
Chew.
Yeah.
Play,
God. Yeah.
And kibosh that into what Satanic Panic was supposed to be.
Yeah. It's funny. I think that first door to your right. And if you don't know what that word means on that picture, go to Urban Dictionary. For the listener, I have a picture that Angus Oblong from the Oblongs drew for me of a little kid. He's jumping up in the air, right? He's clicking his heels. One hand has a fistful of cash, and he's just screaming the word Blumpkin. And so, of course, you have to wonder, is he buying a Blumpkin? Did he just get money from performing a Blumpkin? Like, it's a whole thing.
Or is he off to the Blumpkiners?
Yeah, he's off. I'm off to the Blumpkiner. Oh, can I go get me some head while I make a poopy? Ooh.
Gonna paint today. It's gonna be a great day to sit on the throne, boy.
Like a coal miner at the whorehouse. It was just what you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got paid on Friday. I'm broke again on Sunday, and that's that.
And then I go back to the mine.
I bust my ass Monday through Friday. I come back, and I'm broke again on Sunday. That's just the life I fucking live. Yeah, but when Justice comes back, I want to talk about more urban exploration, right? Because I think that if you're going to do gaming, I think that is a fertile field to learn some things about cities and about city planning and about architecture and just about adventure and avoiding other people. And I think that's kind of a cool idea. I would like to do more of that, but I also want to do more undercity stuff,
Definitely.
I did is it Seattle? I think it was Seattle. They've got a tour of, the undercity that you can do while we were there.
Have you hit the catacombs in Indy?
No.
We'll get you going, buddy.
That's a thing?
We'll get you.
Well, so what are the catacombs in Indy?
So it's only the main downtown area, just like right downtown, and we went down for a couple events, but they're old brick tunnels under the city.
Yeah, is it sewage or like
no?
Okay,
no, I don't think so. I think these were all storage, like ice.
Oh wow, okay,
and stuff like that, or like wine cellar kind of
gotcha.
stuff. But
yes,
I have history buddies who I go like, hey,
right.
What was this?
Now, did Indianapolis have a bootlegging history?
Well, I would assume we're so close to Chicago,
right?
And also we are the fastest city in America,
right?
Enter West Lafayette resident, home to some super old speakeasies in Indiana.
Ah, very cool. See, while you were away, I was saying that I wanted to talk about this urban exploring because it's not something that I've done. It's not something that I understand, but it is certainly something from the perspective of gaming that I think absolutely has value because every time I go hiking or I go to a cave or when I'm out in wilderness or what have you, I always think about gaming and how it relates to gaming and how we really describe and experience the wilderness. But I've never done that from an urban aspect. So what exactly is urban exploration?
Okay, so
there's a couple varieties.
Not an expert member of the community, but urban exploring is checking out spaces that have experienced a change in use. So like when a supermarket goes out of business and it closes and then there's a for sale sign in it for 10 years and it just like decays. It's like urban blight stuff.
Right.
And there are all different types of that are super common depending on what part of the country you live in. There was like an abandoned Days Inn that literally rotted to the ground, really like an interstate exit away from me. And there are supermarkets and drugstores and malls that just famously, like in Blues Brothers, they shot that at the patron saint of dead malls, the Dixie Square Mall in Illinois. It had been foreclosed and abandoned for like a year. And then, who's the guy that directed that movie?
I'm gonna fail you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can't help you.
He got the rights to dress it up for like one weekend of shooting, and that's the car chase,
right?
Like, when they're like, the cop chase. So, after that happened, Universal didn't like pay for any of that cleanup. They just like left it there. So it was like a sandwich of rot, literally until the 2000s. And so fans like famously came to it because it's the place that the Blues Brothers was shot and all kinds of like grisly crimes happened there. So there's like a true crime kind of element to it.
Oh, wow.
Because they're like, another good example is the Six Flags in New Orleans that closed during Hurricane Katrina, and then Six Flags pulled out of the state of Louisiana, abandoned them, and then that park is standing to this day. It had, that acrid, destructive Katrina water in it for 2 weeks.
Oh my God! So then
horror movies have been shot there.
Like who pays for it, right? Like, I mean, who owns that land?
Exactly.
We do.
Well,
taxpayers.
well, it depends
That's true.
because corporations enter into lease agreements with city governments, right? That we're going to lease the land from you at a tax break and to build in a way that we want to outside of your normal building codes. In exchange for, we will be an employer in the community for the next 70 years. Six Flags agreed to that, and then all bets were off after Katrina.
Yeah, Hurricane Katrina is an important life lesson for me. I think that was a moment where I really started to become an aware adult, because that was really the moment. I mean, I'd always sort of been cynical, but that was the moment where I realized that government on every level, federal, state, local, that on every single level that your government is going to fail you, and that the only person or people that you have to really, truly count on to defend you and to take care of you are yourself and those close to you.
It smacked of the French Revolution in the air for sure during
Yeah.
events like Katrina, when you see the real scope of the disparity.
Yeah, no, I just don't. And you know, I say that is a straight cracker with a willy. And I don't trust the fucking government.
And as you know, just like kind of as a palate cleanser, a lot of Urban X is like videos on YouTube of like lo-fi music and aesthetic filters of like guys walking through malls, so you can see they're frozen in time. So as people are interested in the aesthetic of the 80s and the 90s, that's kind of coming back into pop culture, right? Because that's like what the children are wearing. That's a lot of like what urban exploring is now.
Huh.
There's also the more, I don't know, acrobatic or death, the people that are running, they're treating the buildings as terrain.
Oh, like parkour.
Well, some of that, but also the videos of the guys who are just like, I'm up on top of a skyscraper.
They're extremely aesthetic. I mean, like I said, they've shot horror film, like big budget horror films at that abandoned theme park in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Do they not police it? And when I say police, I don't mean like
Some
the actual
places
law
do.
enforcement,
Yeah,
just
some places
security.
do. Some
Yeah.
places do and some places don't. I used to be like kind of a long-time listener, first-time caller for this forum at a website called deadmalls.com, which featured blog-style write-ups of the various dead retail establishments in people's communities. So you could go to like the Indiana page or like the Missouri page and see, or the Texas page, and see local ones. And I've always been blessed to be able to travel quite frequently, like since childhood. So I've seen a lot of these places, and I didn't know that there were other people that kind of thing intrigued. Like, that company went out of business in 2002. What led to their bankruptcy? That kind of stuff fascinates me. Consumer culture fascinates me. I don't know why. But there used to be kind of in those forums and like in some of the videos on YouTube, maybe in the comments now, people will be like, hey, check this mall out. It's very lightly policed, so this place is okay. Or, hey, no, they're watching this place like a hawk, so it's not safe for you to try to stop. There's like a word of mouth element to the Urban X community.
So what about people who, what about the homeless or
That's an element
people
of it,
on
absolutely.
the people that are just on the lam? Like I had a really interesting series of conversations with a guy when I was in Columbus, who was homeless by choice. That world is fascinating to me.
It's a socioeconomic worldview for some people, which it's very strange for us to think of homelessness in those terms, because I had a much more traditional, don't get on the streets, upbringing.
for sure. But
That's like the ultimate.
Drew just lived on the street because it's what he did. And it's how he preferred things, and he just didn't feel like, look, I'm not cut out for all of this and the taxation and the system, and it's not because I'm mentally ill or that I can't hold down a job. It's just, this is the life I want to live and have the opportunity to live it. And so, but then I didn't really know that there's like a whole culture of people who bicycle, and they bicycle cross country. And so you can see groups of people that are part of a common culture that, they speak the language, they look like they live the life, right? And that kind of thing is interesting to me because we have different worlds existing at the same time. When I was in DC, we would every day we would walk by a tent encampment right on the corner of a major thoroughfare. And the local municipality had put a porta potty in, and it would go, depending on the day, between 7 and 9/10. And it was literally like we were, just en passant, we were just two ships passing, parallel, living in different worlds. It was very wild to me. But when things start to fall apart, or you want to explore the world that is there that you're not really aware of, and you want to apply it to gaming, which I do, stuff like that, I think is very, very interesting.
That is something that there is a lot of escape in what we do, but there's a lot more exploration. And that has been something, I think, because it's so new, gaming as an actual tool for psychology and keeping yourself safe and sane. We've had it since the 80s. We've had theater for a long time, but we've had gaming really since the 80s. We're just getting to the third round of everybody. We agree on these things are diagnosable. Or fourth round. Are we fourth round now or DSM? What are we on?
Dude, that like the DSM-7 or I don't know.
Yeah, but that's the only round. How many editions of just Webster's?
Right.
One language have we got? And so there's...
Excuse me one sec. I'm going to check that knock.
Yeah, what is that?
The fact that I did not get a bark from the...
It was Sugar Booger. I bet you he was scratching.
Oh,
upstairs.
okay.
That is like a flashback to the knock on the door at the parties you went to as an underage drinking college co-ed.
Oh, yeah.
Quick, pour this Keystone out. Turn down that Flow Rida.
So I am not ashamed of this, but plenty of people make fun of me for it because they did not expect it. I was in a fraternity. And we would have a couple of times had more than once had parties get busted up, and yeah, it was not. I guess I don't know. I mean, it really wasn't that bad. The police were usually like, "We're fucking keep it down," and sort of thing. Yeah. But we never
had the all right, we're arresting everyone because there was a tiny little bag of marijuana found out here.
No, we were not. Yeah, we didn't. There were marijuana was not a thing that a lot of people at the frat house were really into. It was a drinking thing. It really, really was. It was not a drug thing for sure. That was my different group of friends.
So I went to school a little late, and I 22, and I was like, "Don't put me in the freshman dorm, guys. Don't do it." So what did they do?
They put you in the freshman dorm.
With the Irish exchange student.
Oh my God. That's fantastic.
And on the first day, the week they have when they have freshmen show up and they're like, it's for the we were just finished up our, second or third day of get to know you activities, and I'm walking towards the dorm, and I see two cars, cherries and raspberries flashing. And I'm like, oh, someone's getting in trouble in the first week. I walk in. They're right in front of my door. It's open. Talk, hi, guys. What's up? It smelled weed in the hallway, and so they're going to search our room.
But they smelled weed in the hallway, and so they're going to search our room. Now, I assume that being a student, yada, 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 that you have no rights to say you're not allowed to search this place, right?
Technically correct, absolutely. But that's when the evil grin, the malicious compliance comes in. Well, gentlemen, of course, by all means. Now, when you don't find anything and you've made fools out of yourselves because you've accused us of doing something that we're not stupid enough to do because we live right next to the RA and we're not 18.
Right.
What are you going to give me? Because, the director of RA is right there.
Yeah.
Like, he was standing right there, and I said, Justin. Yeah, EP. What are you going to do?
Yeah, when it's not us.
What are you going to do to show that you are going to not accuse us anymore. Also, our room didn't smell like weed. The hallway did.
Yeah.
Like, the officer walked in and was like, not them. Okay, we got to search.
That sucks. See, I did not
so
have
mad.
the
All respect for the cops in the town. We're gone. I'm like, gone.
I did
It's an
not.
extremely privileged take.
I'm sure.
on
I'm
what
sure
you just
it is.
described. Like,
sure
not
it is.
in a way that's problematic enough that, like, I'm not gonna let you kiss me again, but
Well, yeah, see, okay, but here's the issue. For it, at some point, my life experience, right? And I mean, like the royal whatever. My life experience is my life experience, right? And and I'm not. If it sounds privileged or if it was, at some point, I can't.
It was what happened.
Yeah, it's what. Right. It's what happened to you. So I don't know. That's where I get it. Right?
I understand it was like really 100%.
No, for sure. I'm a very privileged individual. I have indeed coasted through life. I have this voice and this chin. Dude, I get it. Right. I really, really do. Right. Not too hard on the eyes. So any which way, I will say
fine.
I'm fine. That one of the best compliments I ever got actually was from EB. EB and I were talking once, and I said, it's weird. This is going to make me sound like such a fucking asshole, but I don't know. I don't trust people that don't drink alcohol. And EB's like, well, you may not be Irish, but you're one of us. And I was like, oh shit, man, thanks.
we get to spend the week of Thanksgiving in Scotland with my family this year.
Shut up.
I don't know that it's real yet.
It's real. We found the booking confirmation. It's absolutely real.
That's awesome. I'm so jelly.
So I think we're going to be, we're both going to be amongst some of our heritage, I think.
Oh, that's so cool. That is absolutely cool. Yeah, I know. And I have not been to much of French speaking Canada.
Yeah.
But when I was around French speaking Canadians, I was like, oh my God, these people are fucking polite and there's not a whole lot of them around and it's really nice. And I feel like that if violence kicks off, motherfuckers are going to get cut. So I'm home. This is great.
Celine Dion would slit your fucking throat if she had to.
In a heartbeat.
Well, and
in a heartbeat with no remorse.
She's so bony too that I know that she can break skin with those elbows.
She has been trained. That's the only Quebecois I can think of off the top of my head.
That's why I love the TV show Letterkenny so much.
Yes.
I really do.
We were given a Letterkenny shout out when you were going to check the knock on the door. Oh, caps on. I got it off in time.
Do they melt?
You just gum up the
And you're wasting.
I gotcha.
Wasting terps.
When does
a 3-month-old pothead?
Yeah, I was like, she's lingo is going. I'm not and that's the thing. I'm not a real pothead. No. Why? Because my measure for pothead
is Willie Nelson, but you're wrong.
Has true levels. There's Willie and Snoop.
Do they even get high anymore?
Well, exactly.
I think they're just. I think they're mostly crystallized, and that's why they're still
okay. Because I will tell you. I mean, there's something that is true. I mean, alcohol. You build a tolerance to alcohol. Right. You really do.
Right.
But you still can get drunk, right? Now, and I know you can only get so high, but your tolerance for THC, it's very, very different. And there, I have to take breaks.
Oh yeah.
Where I'm just like, I need to reset my tolerance because I know I'm smoking quality stuff. I'm just not getting as high as I did. That is a problem. But the real problem that I have found is fucking short-term memory. My short-term memory has just been brutalized, absolutely brutalized. I mean, and that's not going to deter me from continuing down this path of self-destruction, but
path of least destruction.
I will certainly say that for me, in my experience, the criticisms about marijuana in terms of motivation, short-term memory, things like that. Those are real. Those are, at least for me, in my experience, they're absolutely, absolutely real.
Absolutely. And
is Nick Offerman your dad?
not quite, but at the same time, real Nick Offerman.
The grounds guy at Purdue from when I was at the old office.
Yeah. Well, so my dad is a character. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
He is played by someone famous on a show. If we did his life, but he's a very, very strong character.
I don't know much about my dad. I think that's certainly a regret of mine, but my family, we're not close, right? We're not talky. We're just not those people.
There's an element of this week, us making this extravagant show of connection to my family and like interacting with them in Dallas is such a like fake ass putting on a show. We have a relationship.
No.
I felt like I was in and out of the Matrix a little bit this week.
Gotcha.
So here's the thing. Your brother got you out.
Yeah, for sure.
She's going to get him out.
I gotcha.
But that's all I can. I mean, Moses is mostly...
Moses good.
Moses good.
Oh, we're not going to use names. That's an alias anyway, so that makes sense.
All of the crew.
All of the exes live in Texas.
All of the exes live in Texas.
Can I ask you a question? Sometimes when you text, I don't get it. Like...
Brother, same.
And I'm not saying that. Well, okay, and my cohort from Who Wears the Pants isn't here to pile on, but if he was, he would.
I can admit it on air. It's because I'm usually stream of conscious, high drunk. Reactioning.
Okay, because
it's like unfiltered Twitter. It's bad.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
Stuff will come across, and I'm like, I don't actually understand what that means.
Out of context.
Yeah,
had I sent you like the link with the time and the thing, and you had been a little like what had played immediately the 3 seconds before, and it had been like me coming out with like. God damn it, guys, what the fuck are you talking about? Mike, you're beautiful. Chris, shut up. It would make a lot more sense.
People are going to listen to this episode and they're going to be like, wait a minute, he texts that, he talks that way, but then he texts even worse? This is crazy. This guy is so a hippie. He's such a hippie.
Some days.
You look
he's a steampunk industrial vape brand proprietor. Hippie.
No, you said he's a neo hippie.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you for making me be concise.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. That's
maybe.
Yeah, no, I love that. The audience is like, dude, you guys are so wasted. This is your worst episode yet. It might be the worst episode yet. I'm pretty
Geeling the fuck out of this shit.
I am Geely. Oh my god! I'll tell you what. I've never seen Geely, but I fucking love the movie Jersey Girl. And
Me too.
It's so sweet and
We're askew people.
Yeah. And Liv Tyler has never been more attractive than she was in that movie, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like that movie was just so sweet and touching, and I don't know, it was the family I wanted to have. Any which way. So what's next for you guys? What's next for EB and Justice? Are we going to take over planet Earth after you come back from Scotland?
Well, so other than, I mean, like the real secret is I would like to run a stable of game masters at a bed and breakfast where you have to book like a 3-night stay minimum. We have spectacular food, like a phenomenal chefs rotate in and they enjoy
Brother,
it.
I'm tracking.
But it's the adventure lodge.
We need money. So here's the thing.
I just want to run the brewery.
So here's what you do. You do that experience, but then you branch it off into another avenue of retirement facilities.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because for me, the big dream is gamer retirement facility where, you know, the old generation's going to die off and their collections are going to go to museums if such a place, you know, continues to exist or whatever. But I want to have an old folks home where gaming is an activity that is regularly available. So have libraries of books and, you know, have staff members who, you know, will run through, hey, I know I'm Brodor. I donate a couple hours. We need more than that, but I donate a few hours a week to come and run games for the old folks, or I'm a staff member at blah, blah, blah. Well, I became a professional game master when I was 34 years old, working for these old bastards. Change a few diapers, drop them into the old bag of holding, and here we go. We're off to adventure. That kind of stuff is what I want to do, EB. I think gaming bed and breakfast, if a place doesn't already exist, it should. Here, not too far, we have a thing called the Gamers Ranch.
Ooh.
And it is, it's basically...
Like if the Manson family hadn't been interested in murder.
Yeah.
Solid.
It's one guy, right? It's, you know, it's his land and facility, but you can go there, you bring your own games, you can use their games. And you just hang out, and it's a very gamery thing. And so that's a totally doable dream.
And then
I agree.
Music for this one.
Yeah, so
Maybe.
kind of a free-form list of mutual goals that we have in no particular order of importance.
Wait. You guys are at the planning goals together stage of a relationship?
Abstractly, for the most part, I would say.
All right. That was vaguely non-committal.
Yeah. Yes. I would say yes.
Yeah, I think that...
We're going to Scotland. We have lists of things. Yes.
We are looking to find a place to stay tonight. We are looking to merge households at some point. We are looking to explore tiny house living and open your brewery and be able to do music more full time and maybe find some potato skins somewhere tonight. And
where are you guys gonna go with tiny home?
Well, so your interest in tiny homes is like independent of our relationship. You've been having a tiny house siren call for a while, right?
So I really just like the being able to roll somewhere.
I'm sorry.
And just roll to somebody's brewery and just be like, "Hi, I'm going to be your backup guest brewer for the day."
Oh, sure, yeah, like a what's the McKellar?
Yeah. But I just want to be a gypsy brewer, man. That's all I want to be.
So traveling brewer, that I also think that's an attainable thing. The hard part there is that you've got to. That's an industry that I suspect it's challenging to break into.
I've worked in and around the alcohol world since I was 21. So it's been not long enough.
Right.
So, but yeah.
You guys are going to get dinner after this?
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. I don't know what our plan is on that one.
Gotcha.
I've got some friends who moved down here. Kendall actually should probably be an actual guest on Why We Game because another teacher that runs games.
I would love to. Yeah, seriously. I would absolutely love, because I have not interviewed. I mean, I did interview Rico, but Rico is professional game master as opposed to I am a teacher using gaming in the classroom. I would love to. Yeah, I would love to. I'll give you one of my cards. I would love to meet them.
Yeah.
But your dad's good?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's really what I'm doing most of the time right now is working for him. And life is coming back this year.
Right.
So it's not over. We're not done yet. Something's coming back because it has to. And it's not that we're not going to live in fear. We're going to fear appropriately. Batman taught us to fear appropriately.
Well, can't we? And can't everybody fear in their own way? Like, I think that I am relatively young and relatively healthy and not that fat. And I am not necessarily at risk at this point with the COVID, particularly with the vaccine and the boosters and da 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 da. And if you feel like you need to wear your mask and social distance, dude, I support your right to do that.
Absolutely.
As long as people support my right that I am not going to put on my cloth mask that we all know doesn't do anything in the first place. And the only people who are maskers that I really have great respect for are the people who are wearing their N95s and wearing them properly.
So it's a matter of degrees and securing both routes of safety and also to make sure that while accommodation is made, accommodation for healthy people has to be there too, because we want to sort of see as many people as we can. I will mask up full thing and go game in a hospital. I mean, I would go full hazmat suit for a week and if I had to.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But also, I want to go to a bar and have a beer. Please. Please. It's coming back. Weddings are coming. Bookings are happening.
Are you guys cleaning up more poop? I mean, I know I asked that in a silly way. We're doing more pickups and more.
We're moving more units.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the events are being booked. Summer's when everything kicks off. We missed out a little bit on some of the crazy Christmas stuff we could have gotten because my dad does real big trailers, so you can relieve yourself in luxury.
Oh, you guys do the fancy shitters. That's cool.
Like 40 of those.
40?
I think by now.
Damn, that's crazy.
It's a decent sized small business. It is. I don't know how long we are hanging on, or what our time, because I'm seeing we're about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Of
I was trying to take a picture of the Admiral in that chair, but no, it's not you, it's him.
Oh.
He knows when you're trying to take a picture of him, and he moves.
Did I just see a little?
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah, no, that dog is way smarter than the average dog. He's a fucking cunt. Anyway. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good that it's coming back, especially just in time for North Korea to invade South Korea. Everybody keeps talking about the Taiwan thing and about how the Chinese are going to move on Taiwan. I'm like, look, our Tri-Com overlords are super, super patient. Yeah. And I think the next domino to fall is the North-South divide. I think that the 38th parallel will be crossed. But I could be wrong. Brostadamus is sometimes wrong.
So, Brostadamus, I think the thing that we need to take into account, and this is a little scary on both sides to think about, is that we get to see a lot of South Korea, and there are 2 occupied territories. Sorry, 3 occupied territories minimum that I can think of right now. Israel, Palestine, Russia, Ukraine, and the main one that I was bringing up, that just...
North Korea, South Korea?
North Korea, South Korea. I mean, those are active Cold War zones. We don't get to see as much of what North Korea does, but South Korea has gone crazy. And
have they?
I really haven't.
I really haven't been paying attention to any of their.
Every Korean citizen is required to
military service. Right? I don't know.
That was my belief. It's the same way for Israeli.
I know that there's mandatory service in Israel. Yeah,
and every able-bodied male in Ukraine is called out. That is an active war zone. Should not be. It's the craziest war that is parades and more, and a thriving country beside it. I feel like it's the most savage, better living through revenge.
What do you mean?
Well, the best way of living, the best revenge is living well.
Oh, I gotcha. So who's living well in this scenario?
The South Koreans would be my view, but it depends on who you talk to. There's some on the Taoist side that say an agricultural life, pure and simple, with a benevolent leader who leads a certain way is the best way. I don't live in North Korea. I don't live it every day, I might be happier if I don't know.
You know what fascinates me about you?
What?
Is and I am not like some weird person who reads auras and what have you, but I can almost see how difficult it is for your head to contain all of your thinking. It's as if there is a torrent of just ethereal thoughts spinning about your head. And, you know, like these little hands from inside your brain are grabbing at words and trying to put them and make them congeal into a cohesive sentence. Yeah,
Well, something that I can get the feeling and the thought across, because it's more than just the words. It's the experience. You've done
You're such a hippie.
You've done no, it's not. You've created that feeling in people and made that happen from behind the game masters.
Oh, now, all right. Now you're going to make me all blushy. This is the part where I'm uncomfortable.
This isn't blushy. This is let's rock and roll. Come on. You've done this before. You know what the hell I'm talking about. Don't get lost right now. Translate this into another cooler thing. Go. We're just.
I don't even know what just happened.
Are we trying to connect with Kendall and Kennedy tonight?
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my cue. I have to say, it has been an interesting episode. This is going to be one hellish nightmare for me to edit.
Send it to me and I'll edit it for you.
No, that is quite all right. It's quite all right. I know the editing's it's an important part of the process for me. Really, it is.
Okay.
It really is, because I like to review what I have done. I'm going to go back and kick myself for like, dude, why did you let yourself get so wasted and record this episode? But
maybe someday you could let him do an alternate cut after yours is out.
No, that I would absolutely do. Ooh. The remix edition. Yes. Yeah, I know. I mean, Nellie's awful, but that fucking song's awesome.
And then I'll do the
or not Nellie
commentary.
Yeah.
Between the
edition
two.
Of it. Yeah.
I said Nellie when I meant R. Kelly. I should be
I knew what
shot.
you meant.
Yeah. That's because I'm a St. Louis boy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I was trying to misrepresent.
That's correct.
All right.
That was a little subterfuge.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for being on the show, and
thanks for having us. Thanks for being a way station on our journey.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that we didn't get more into talking about the fan relationship. I think that people may be happy just listening to us bullshit. I don't know. We'll find out if anybody cares next time on Why We Game. So anyway, folks, humans, what did I say before? Oh yeah, primate descended bipeds. Thank you for listening. I'm Brodor. Editing is by me. And music, as always, is by 99 Instrumentals. If this is too much for you and you didn't like this episode, you're really gonna hate next week. And remember, the only thing worse than speech crime is thought crime.